let me tell you, we've brought the heat before, but it's real hot in here right now because this show is a banger.
Yeah, I don't think it could get much better.
We'll have two powerhouses in their own field.
Absolute powerhouses.
Let's get right into it.
Headed down to the neon lights, it's where I want to be because I'm just trying to make it.
You're listening to the Diamonds in the Rough podcast.
I'm just trying to make it.
Powered by Prospects Live.
You know, we've been teasing this show for a while, and it delivered. It delivered hard. We got St. Louis Cardinals legend, Adam Wainwright, followed by YouTube legend, the Possum Posse, better known for as voice of Guy on the Buffalo, which is an all-time YouTube video, which we'll get into later. And they saved the dog.
I was gonna say it. They saved the dogs.
Saved the dog.
So it's even bigger.
It was unbelievable. What an experience. But we're back down in Port Charlotte. I've been here for a week. Schnelly came and joined me last night. Ubered in from Fort Myers.
Oh yeah, it was a long day. Had a flight scheduled to take off at 10 a.m. from Indiana. Got canceled. I was supposed to go Indianapolis to Charlotte. That got canceled. So rescheduled for 2 o'clock, and it was Indianapolis to Chicago.
Which
so I got
a 30-minute flight.
Yeah, a 30-minute flight, literally. So I got there, and then right before I was taking off from Indy to Chicago, my Chicago flight that was supposed to leave at like 3:37 got delayed to 6:50. So flew into Chicago, sat there for 4 hours, watched a couple episodes of 1883.
Nice plug.
You know, yeah. It's a great show. You guys should watch it. And then got down here last night.
A little real life 3-1 breaker.
Yeah. Absolute banger. Some may say Adam Wainwright's curveball. Yeah. An absolute banger.
I don't know about that much. But we had to get somebody to go scoop him from the airport in Fort Myers, and it got pushed back, and we were like, nah, you can Uber. It ain't too bad of an Uber drive from there.
No.
But since we got 2 interviews, let's just get right into it. Snelly, you put us in a pickle on this fine Wednesday morning?
Yeah. I got a good one for us today.
Shook, you walked in?
I'm dialed in.
Heck yeah.
I cannot wait for this.
So when you build something, right? A house, a building, skyscraper, whatever. If you build something, does it add weight to the earth?
No.
Does it though? It does. It may. Okay, so if I have a water bottle and it's liquid and I put it in the freezer and it turns into ice, the ice is going to be heavier than what the water bottle was.
Is that true?
So when you turn, I mean, I would assume so, right?
But are you building a house with ice?
I'm saying, all the materials are on Earth. But if you turn the materials into something else, does it make it heavier? Like if you're making, like, I don't know, like metal, whatever it takes to make metal, is that heavier than what concrete? Is what is being created heavier than what it's used to create?
This would be something here.
So Shook, you're wrong.
No, I don't know. I don't know because listen, say you're mixing concrete. Is the concrete mix the same weight as when the concrete is hard?
That's what I'm saying. Is the materials that it takes to make the concrete weigh more, less, or the same as what the concrete is once it solidifies?
If there's stuff being manufactured, but they still have to have materials for it. So I don't know.
I thought it was like if you build a house and you go to like Lowe's and get wood.
Right. Yeah. Right. The wood's not going to add it.
Yeah. The wood won't add anything.
I thought that was what you were asking.
The materials were already on Earth, but I'm saying,
But I'm thinking of all that's going into this building.
Yeah. Everything. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. The cords that are made for
there would have to be stuff manufactured, but the concrete one, I don't know. I don't see how it could gain weight just by hardening.
I'm sorry. I wasn't dialed in. I'm sorry.
But we told you to be dialed in.
I'm trying to think of something that's manufactured that is put in there.
But I am interested in the water bottle. I'm gonna weigh a water bottle, put it in the freezer, and then weigh it when it's frozen.
That'll be electric.
I'm interested to see.
That'll be electric. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna twister, dude. I actually thought of one the other day, but now I can't remember it. I'm gonna have to start writing these down. Throw a little bonus pickle in there.
Yeah, I was scrambling to find one. I had a crazy day trying to get here for this interview.
You did. You did. It was a good performance.
Yeah, I put on. I've put on some of the best performances for this podcast. I had my flu game.
Mm-hmm. Power outage.
The power outage, and now we got done at the field at 1:35 today, and we get in. I'm walking in.
We had an interview scheduled at 2.
At 2, and I walked in. And it said 1:31, and it's a 12-minute drive ish, 12-15, you'd say. Yeah,
and you had my truck, and you texted me and said, I'm zooming home. And I said, if you wreck my truck, this podcast is over.
There's nothing to worry about. I would have rather been late than wreck your truck, but I was trying to make it home.
Yeah,
I made it
buzzer beater
home
finish.
About 1:57.
Yeah.
So.
That's just doing what it takes. That's the winner mentality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Winner mentality.
I was grinding out on the field, getting my work in, and then grinding to put on a performance for this podcast,
In all honesty, how long could we have talked to Wainwright in his interview?
3 hours.
It was flying. That was the fastest 30 minutes that we've ever had on here.
If he
go ahead.
What's up, Shook? No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, if he wouldn't have had the time constraint that he had, that could have very easily been our first 2-hour show.
Yeah, he was so good. He was the man. He was the man.
I guess that's what makes him.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
he's a beast.
He's just.
You'll hear a funny story about how I got him on the pod. It was I about fumbled the bag hard off the rip. I wouldn't have blamed him if he wouldn't even text me back. But he was a good sport about it because he's a dude. So enough teasing it. We'll get you right into it. We'll see you back next week. Hopefully with some more exciting news. And hope y'all enjoy it. All right. Well, we now welcome on a real special guest, a pitcher that's his name, Adam Wainwright. First off, from one dog to another, congratulations.
Yeah, congrats to you too, brother.
You couldn't have drew that up any better, I don't think.
No, and I think the loss in the SEC championship game helped him.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody wants the perfect season or whatever, but I think that kind of woke them up a little bit, kind of realized what they needed to do adjustments-wise. Kirby coached a great game. The guys coached a great game, and everybody looked great. Stetson, I was so happy for Stetson Bennett. It was crazy.
Yeah, that defense definitely deserved one. They were unbelievable from start to finish. It was
defense is special. I've never seen anything like that before.
Just so much talent. It was insanity. But yeah, so I texted you a couple of days ago and asked to come on, and I have to apologize to you on here. I congratulate you on retirement. So that's on me. That is on me.
Yeah, that was interesting. Everybody, when you get my age, it happens a lot. But yeah, you said, "Hey, love to have you on the podcast. Hope you're enjoying retirement." I was like, maybe he knows something. Maybe he knows something I don't know.
But now, correct me if I'm wrong. Though, at one point, that was your last year, right? Because I swear I remember you saying something like that.
I'd never have said that it was for sure, but I have over the years continued to think it was my last year. 4 years ago, I thought I was retiring. So it's been a crazy run.
I guess when you get 19 wins and a couple Cy Young votes, you decide to run it back.
Might as well keep running them back.
I love it. But so yeah, we just wanted to kind of get you on and talk about some different perspectives you might have of going through kind of your journey to the major leagues and stuff. And I was looking over some of your stuff, and so out of high school in the 2000 draft, you go first round to the Braves, and being a South Georgia guy, that had to be pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. I grew up every single night. We didn't miss a game. It was 7:35 TBS. The Braves were playing. It was, you scheduled your dinners around it. I had clips and cutouts from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution of when Glavin Max, Smoltz, or Steve Avery would say something about their preparation or their mental game, their physical game, anything that I felt like was going to help me. My brother especially scoured the articles and read books and all kinds of stuff. And he really helped me a ton in my journey, helped me helped me learn the game of pitching and learn that it was not just about throwing. It was about, there was an art to it. It was about making pitches and executing pitches. And some of that stuff didn't click until later on, but I started to kind of jog the memory over the years, but it's always been in there because my brother just instilled that in me. And the Braves pitchers, just did such a good job of preparation and planning. And they explained that Greg Maddox interviews were legendary back in the day, and just watching the difference in each one of them, Smoltz's mental game and his ferocity when he was pitching in big games. That's the guy you wanted on the mound in the playoffs, John Smoltz. He was just a ferocious competitor. And then Tom Glavine was just a stoic, super professional. You could never tell if he was down or up. He was always staying right in the moment, always about the next pitch, always about executing. And I just loved watching him take an umpire off the plate. He'd throw it an inch off the plate and he got a call. He'd throw it 2 inches off the plate. He got the call. He'd throw it 3 inches off the plate. Didn't get the call, bring it back to 2 inches, and then he'd throw the changeup off of it. It was just fascinating to watch him pitch. And then, of course, Greg Maddox, just you never knew what was coming, which way it was going to move, but you knew it was going to be moving and you knew it was going to be a strike. And if it wasn't a strike, it looked like a strike. And I'll never forget something he told me a long time ago. One of the keys to his success, he wanted to make all his strikes look like balls and all his balls look like strikes. And if a pitcher can get you just for a split second to think it's not a strike, and then you have to react secondarily that it is, he's already got you beat. He's got you out of your approach and out of your zone.
Yeah. And I was going to ask, so you were able to talk to some of those guys after you got drafted? Were you able to pick their brains at all at that age?
Big time. I was in big league camp with them and got to spend a lot of time on the golf course with Smoltz and a few rounds of Maddox. And it was just a fascinating, as a kid growing up in South Georgia, when your whole life was watching Braves baseball games and playing baseball, to be in the same locker room as those guys, and Chipper Jones and Andrew Jones and Rafael Furcal and Marcus Giles and all these guys, it was just a special time for me. It was just something I'll never forget. But one of my biggest regrets, and this was part of me being young and stupid, when I was real young, first big league camp, 21 or 22, Greg Maddox invited me to sit into the weight room with him every morning at 6 a.m. and talk pitching before spring training practices. And I remember thanking him and being like, wow, that is really special. And then walking out of the room going, I ain't getting up at 6 a.m. That was ridiculous. And now I wish I had done that so much. What incredible lessons I could have learned, and maybe I could have avoided some of the pitfalls I had throughout the minor leagues. But you know what? It's all a big journey, and you live and you learn. And hopefully somebody watching this podcast will go, all right, not that I'm Greg Maddox, but if Adam Wainwright ever asked me to talk pitching every morning at 6 a.m. or whoever, I'll do it,
Yeah, that's crazy. He embraced you like that. That's a cool story. So kind of moving forward, you spent some time in the minor leagues, and coming from a small town, South Georgia. What was that like a pretty big change when obviously you got to go right back though, I guess, to Macon, and then some of those places. But how big of a culture change was it going from playing high school ball at Glenn Academy to playing a full season of pro baseball?
So it was and it wasn't. I mean, luckily I got to play some summer baseball and I got to get out of my little hometown and go to the Babe Ruth World Series up in Stamford, Connecticut, and stay with host families and kind of get a taste of it and get out on the road on a bus every now and then with the team and stuff. So I had sort of a feel of it, but I was so fortunate. When I was drafted by the Braves, in the draft, I was really expected to go a little bit like 3 picks later to Toronto. I know Toronto was really trying to sign me. And so their rookie ball would have been in Medicine Hat, Canada. And instead I went to Orlando, Florida. And then that was a huge difference, man. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
For a South Georgia kid, that was pretty great. That's a 3.5 hour drive for me down to Orlando. And then when I left Orlando, I played in Danville, Virginia, which is, maybe 6 hours from the house. And then left Danville and went to Macon, Georgia, which is only about 3 hours from my house. And then I went to Greenville, South Carolina. It was like maybe 5 hours from the house. And then Memphis, Tennessee, which is maybe 6 or 7 hours from the house, maybe 8. But all those things are drivable, and all those are they're all right there, in the Southeast. And if I'd have gone to Toronto or some other place, I'd have been, who knows, gallivanting all over the country and in Canada and who knows where. Who knows how it would have turned out. But I was really fortunate and blessed to be able to stay in the Southeast all the time, because I married my high school sweetheart. So she was going to Georgia Southern, and so she was able to visit a lot of times and come see me on the road, and when she didn't have class. So it was good for me and good for my family too.
Yeah, that's definitely a blessing to stay down there. So was it still the bacon then? Was it still making bacon?
No, it wasn't the Making Bacon yet. It was the Making Braves.
Okay.
Yeah. And we played against the Savannah Sand Gnats, not the Savannah Bananas or whatever they are.
Yeah, they changed a little bit. I mean, I was going to ask you though, did any of these towns really stick out when you played there? Just, I don't know, whether it be the environment, something that happened there, was just kind of the minor league experience. Any of these places you play that just
the really most fun place I played, and I'll just somebody will have to. I don't even know if it's possible to talk me out of this. The greatest minor league place you could ever play is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I mean, that is the most fun place. You got the beach, you got tons of golf courses, restaurants everywhere. There's lots of people coming in to going out. If hopefully you're not going out to the bars too much, but that's a fun party scene too. I mean, for a young person, that place is a blast. And the good thing about playing there too, as the home team, we kind of get used to it after a while. And so you don't abuse it after a while. You go out for a while and you have fun and you go back home. Well, these visiting teams come in from these little podunk towns that don't have any fun, and they go crazy. And so they're all sleepy and tired and hungover or whatever the next day, and you end up whooping them. Yeah. So we won the Myrtle Beach Pelicans win the first half of the baseball season every single year, if I'm not mistaken. And then they clinch a spot in the postseason because, you win the first half of the minor leagues, you clinch a spot, or it used to be that way anyways, 20 years ago when I was there. But then you're in the playoffs, and I remember hearing our manager, Randy Engel, he said, hey, if y'all will clinch a first spot into the playoffs by this first half, we won't take batting practice the whole second half. And we were like, what? All right. We won the first half by 10 games. Didn't take batting practice the whole second half. And I would show up at 5 o'clock, play golf every single day. I mean, it was just the greatest. That's a fun time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Cole and I got a little bit of a taste of Myrtle Beach this year. We were in Charleston, so we got a taste of it. I don't think the field's probably changed since you played there. It's still a wood and green outfield wall. As an outfielder, the last thing I wanted to do was run into that wall. I felt like I was in it. Just get close.
Charleston's a great place.
It was awesome.
I got a funny Charleston story too. So I'm a buddy roommate of mine, Kelly Johnson, played in the big leagues for a long time. Kelly and I go out to the bar in Charleston to have some onion rings and a burger or whatever before we go back to the hotel. And we just got done playing, and we stop in there, and I look across the bar, and I said, Kelly, my Spanish teacher is our bartender right now. And he was like, yeah, right. She's a good-looking lady, really good-looking. When I was in high school, Miss Vasquez was her name. Miss Vasquez is really young, straight out of college, just got the job. And she was just a cutie, right? All the guys in high school wanted to be dating Miss Vasquez. But anyways, so he's like, yeah, right, that lady's too hot. I said, I'm serious, man. That is my Spanish teacher right there. He goes, you're lying. I said, watch this. Senorita Vasquez. And she turned around. You turn around. And you remember back, I don't know if it was like this for y'all, but in high school Spanish, we had Spanish names in class. I didn't go by Adam. My name was Geronimo. And she turned around and said, Geronimo, ¿qué pasó? And he was like, what? So Miss Vasquez came to the game the next day. I left her a couple tickets for her and her boyfriend, and it was a good time.
Then I bet Kelly's taking all the boys down there to see Senorita Vasquez after that, huh? Hey, watch this.
Yeah, and that's funny because I was sitting in the stands the next day. I had the radar gun And I was sitting up there with the radar gun, shooting times, writing this, whatever. And she comes and sits in her seats, and I go see her, and she's like, "Wait, I thought you said you were a player." I'm like, "Well, I'm doing the radar gun, so I am a player, but I pitched whatever days ago." And so she was like, she kind of looked at me like, "Yeah, right. You ain't no player. You're just some guy." I don't know. But.
That's awesome. So then obviously you move on and you make your debut. Well, actually first you get traded. You get traded to the Cardinals. And like you talked about, you had deep ties to the Braves. You kind of grew up with it. Was that something that was hard at the time, or was it something you kind of understood and moved on, or how did that go down?
Two big thoughts about that. So one, the first thought was when I found out I was being traded, I was asking for asking my father-in-law for his permission to marry his daughter. That was the conversation that was going on when the phone was ringing off the hook. And he gets up and answers it mid-conversation. I'm like, "Sir, I love your daughter and this and that." And he gets up and answers the phone. I'm like, "Where you going, dude? Like, we're having the talk. Like, this is all." And he comes back and he's like, "You got somebody on the phone for you." So I go over, and it's my mom on the phone with Dayton Moore, who's now the Kansas City general manager or president or whatever he is now. But he was our minor league coordinator back in the day. And he said, "Hey, we've sad news. We've decided to move you over to St. Louis. We need an outfielder, and we got JD Drew and this and that." I'm like, "Okay, I don't have time to think about that right now. I got stuff going on. My mom's crying her eyes out. I'm like, it'll be all right. Where'd I go? St. Louis? Okay, that's a good organization. I'll talk to you later." And so I'm like, "All right, where were we?" And of course he's like, "Wait, you don't even know where you're going to be next year." And so we had to have that added to the conversation. But the other side of that talk is what I had been doing in the minor leagues and how I had been doing things probably wasn't the best. I was really late to the field every day, didn't work as hard as I needed to. And that I kind of got a reputation for that. I needed a fresh start. There were some prospects that started to pass me up on promotions and stuff. And I just needed a fresh start. I actually took it really well. Even, thinking back on it, I feel like I should have been a lot more sad than I was, but I think I knew I needed a new opportunity, and it ended up being the greatest thing for me.
Yeah, we've talked a lot on here about, because everybody goes through it, either in college, a lot of people in college, or your first couple of years once you get drafted. There's a maturing process, there's a turning point where you start realizing what it takes to be a professional. And so you'd say it was after the trade where that was really yours, where stuff kind of started changing?
Yeah, a little bit. In spring training in 2004, my first big league camp with the Cardinals, I realized I needed to make a change. I had started really playing that moment in my mind where Maddox had asked me to talk pitching with him, and I blew him off. What an idiot. And so I got, who is it over here with the Cardinals that I need to shadow and just really learn from and pick their brain and just sponge like crazy. And, I watched the first couple of days I watched, and there was some really great players there. There was some, Matt Morris was there, who's an all-star pitcher, and Woody Williams, who was a longtime veteran all-star pitcher, and Jason Marquis, who had come over with me from the Braves, veteran pitcher. And everybody was Jeff Suppan. Everybody was really solid, but the guy that stuck out to me, who seemingly was working the hardest, who was the most just intense on his just playing catch and working out, bullpen session. It didn't take me long to realize that Chris Carpenter was the guy that I wanted to sponge off of. I just, for the entire big league camp, I just didn't let him out of my sight. If he was playing golf, I invited myself. If he was going to dinner, I invited myself. If he was going out to play catch, I was either playing catch with him or right next to him. I wanted to watch everything he did. If he was going to the weight room, I was going to try to beat him there, and never did. He was always beat me in there, but I was going to try to be there and watch him work and just pay attention to it, and just, you can learn a lot by watching. You don't have to always be listening or talking. You can just watch and you learn a lot. But also just listening to him talk pitching to the coaches. I mean, it's just fascinating, what I didn't know, what I thought I knew and what I didn't know. And I just learned a whole lot that spring training. It took me a year and a half or so to really kind of dive into everything he was telling me. There was this one moment And as baseball players, y'all will understand this. We were in the shower, and sometimes some of your best conversations happen in the shower, and that's just definitely a baseball thing. That just doesn't happen in banks. You know? You know, bankers and lawyers and doctors, they don't go to work and go into the shower and have conversations. That's totally a baseball thing. So we're in there, and Carp was a guy who he keeps to himself. He's not going to seek a lot of conversations out. You bring it to him, he'll talk your ear off, but he's not going to, especially me, number 74 in camp or whatever I was. He was kind of reserved. And so I said, "Hey, Carp, I'm having trouble. You know, the Braves would never let me throw a two-seamer. I'm having trouble with my two-seamer coming back over to the middle of the plate when I'm trying to throw it inside the lefties or away the righties. What are your thoughts on that?" And he looked at me like I was an idiot. And he goes, "It can't." And then he walked out, and I was like, what just happened? And that was it. All he said was, "It can't." And so I thought about it all night long. I'm like, does this guy just like think it's impossible? He's like so good. And that year he won the Cy Young, by the way, or the next year he won the Cy Young. I was like, does this guy just think it's like impossible to throw the ball over the middle of the play? Was that what he's trying to say? Like, it physically can't do it? So I go to the next day back in the shower, and I said, "Carp, question for you. Are you telling me that like it is physically impossible? Like it can't?" He goes, "I'm telling you that when I go to grab a ball and throw a pitch, it physically cannot come back over to the middle of the plate. It's impossible. Where I'm trying to throw it, it's where it's going to end up. And that's my mindset." And then he walked out, and I'm like, this guy's awesome. I want to be just like him when I grow up, you know? And it was such a powerful moment for me, because I realized conviction wise, I was so far from that, that I needed to really step that part of my game up. And that's, you know, that was a big lesson for me.
That's awesome. As a two-seam guy, that's pretty much the sickest story I've ever heard. But I know you got to get off, but I got to ask you this question. I've been dying to. So I have a lot of respect for guys who've been in the league for so long that they've almost become two different pitchers while they're in the league. You know, I think about CC Sabathia coming out and blowing people away at the start and then backdooring sliders by the end of his career, Greinke, and then you're kind of in the same boat to a different extent. But I was looking at some of your charts, and you have a completely different mentality with 0 strikes and 1 strike. Your charts were just, you know, with no strikes, it was almost like center, like you were throwing at centers, a little bit arm side. And then once you got to 1 strike, it was like, all right, I'm going to get him. And it was just dotted for, you know, low and arm side stinker. When did that happen where you knew like that first strike was so important? And then once I got that next strike, I could just attack?
Well, in 2011, I mean, it's been a building process, right? I still am just understanding that even more. Just hearing it, you say it again, just kind of reiterates that point to me. But in 2011, I tore my arm. I had Tommy John. I was missing the season, and I watched so many baseball games that year. Not of my own team, but obviously I watched them too. But I wanted to pick out who was the best pitchers in baseball, and I tried to make every start. I tried to watch every start of theirs. Cliff Lee, Roy Halladay, Chris Carpenter, Cole Hamels, those guys, that whole Philadelphia pitching staff was super fun to watch. That's why it was even more fun when we beat them in the NLDS that year. But the main thing that I saw when I watched these guys, these are the best at their craft in all of baseball. The main thing I saw was when they didn't walk anyone, hardly anyone scored. You know, and if you watched Cliff Lee, the guy threw 90 miles an hour to 92 miles an hour, really 89 to 93, anywhere in there. And he just threw 4-seam fastballs, lefty, and he just pounded right-handers in, just pound, 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 pound. But if you didn't swing it, it was a strike. And then he'd flip a little changeup in there, a little curveball or something. But he was just coming right at you. And the lesson for me there, and watching Roy Halladay do the same thing, Carp the same thing, you get strike 1. I mean, here's a lesson that the Cardinals teach too. The batting average on strike on the first pitch throughout the season, is 040. It's a number that you never hear throughout all of baseball, but the number is, I'm sorry, I think it's 060. It's 060, and that includes any pitch thrown, right? So it could be foul balls, could be not just balls in play, strikes, balls, foul balls, anything, homers, hits, anything. The batting average is 060. I'll take those odds,
Yeah.
And if you look at who leads the league in center cut first pitch strikes every year, you know who it is? Max Scherzer.
Scherzer, yeah, I was about to say.
Max Scherzer. Now, I know he has electric stuff and he's coming at you with good fastball or whatever, but it's middle. And if you look at who leads the league every year in solo homers allowed, it's Max almost every year, because he's coming at you right away. He's not walking anybody. It's hard to get base hits off of him anyways, but he's getting strike one. And if you look at Clayton Kershaw over the years, all his best years, which is a ton, like almost every one of them, he's 0-1, he's 0-2 on every single batter he faces. I mean, the guys you watch, the guys who are the best pitchers in the game are the guys who are 0-1 the most. I mean, it's just a fact. It is the fact. If you can get the hitter on the defensive right away, and that was one thing Greg Maddux did. Greg Maddux was the best at, you knew you had to swing it for the first pitch because it was the only one that was guaranteed to be a strike, because it was usually towards the middle of the plate. But if you didn't get a hit on it and you got out on the first pitch, you played right into his game plan. And he threw a 75 pitch complete game. That's exactly what I'm trying to accomplish. If you want to hit it, it's going to be moving. It's going to be down. It's going to be hard to hit, hard to center, but it's going to be a strike. If you want to get a hit off me, you better swing early, because you don't want to get to my breaking balls. And the more ahead in the count I am, the more I can expand the zone. Even throwing as soft as I throw nowadays, you can really expand the zone well. And with a big, slow breaking ball like I throw it, he plays off my fastball fine. I mean, it's fine. It works. I don't know why it works, but it does. But the pitch that gets the most people in trouble is not getting that first pitch strike. I mean, and varying your pitches in those first pitch strikes is super important too. Max and we're not going out there and just throwing first pitch four seamers down the middle. You might get a slider, you might get a curveball, you might get a changeup, but it's most likely going to be a strike. So be ready to swing.
That's good stuff. Shook, you got something?
Yeah, Adam. You're a great pitcher. Really respect that about you. But something that I have really enjoyed to see about you and other Cardinals players and other players in the league is the big league impact. And I wanted to give you an opportunity just really quickly before you go to talk about that initiative, anything that you may want to plug that's going on, any events coming up with the foundation, or just what the foundation is. Yeah,
I guess I'll be the first to break the news. We have a Big League Impact. I started Big League Impact in 2013 with my brother Trey, and it's really just fun ways to make money for the charities that we really find important. A lot of things we do are basic essential needs: food, water, shelter. There's people all over this country that don't have food, that don't have clean water, that don't have medicine, that don't have the school supplies they need. We love catering to that. There's people all around the world that don't have clean water, that are dying from drinking disgusting water and don't have sanitation and all that kind of stuff. So we love going to find those people and feeding them and giving them clean water and giving them medicine. We built a medical clinic down in Haiti. It's really neat. But what we got coming up in a couple of weeks, February 6th in Springfield, Illinois at the Boondocks. This is news now. I hadn't told anybody this. Nobody knows.
Here we go.
Let's go.
Y'all are breaking the story. At the Boondocks music venue in Springfield, Illinois, myself and Dallas Davidson are going to be there. Dallas Davidson's written 27 number one hits. He's going to be playing a little show. I'm going to sign some autographs. We had the Cardinals winter warm-up got canceled because of COVID and because of the lockout that we're in. So I'll be there signing some autographs for Cardinals fans who sign up. If you want to see some good music, go to Springfield, Illinois. We're going to raise a lot of good money for charity. We're going to feed some people. We're going to give them some clean water. We're going to give them some medicine. So come to the show. Help us do some good things around the world and listen to some good music. Look him up. Dallas Davidson has written so many crazy good songs you can't even believe it. But he's also a very good entertainer. He's going to bring in some friends too, some fellow songwriters. We're going to have a cool night.
Heck yeah, that sounds awesome. Well, Adam, we really appreciate you coming on. I could have talked pitching with you all day, but it's awesome what you're doing outside, off the field, and obviously on the field. Best of luck to you this year, and you're welcome on anytime.
Thanks.
Yes,
And so am I to take this as I'm not retired? Is that?
Yeah, no, I don't. As far as I know, you're not now. I won't assume anymore.
Good to know. Good to know.
We'll be keeping up. But yeah, we really appreciate you coming on, and best
All
of
right,
luck
I
to you.
appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Go Dogs.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
There you go, Dogs.
All right, we now welcome on a very special guest. This is Jomo from the Possum Posse, also known as the voice of the guy on the Buffalo. What's going on?
Not much. How are y'all?
Shoot, we're doing good.
Doing well now that we got you on here.
Yeah, can't
Yeah.
complain. Cannot complain. So I'm not gonna lie, I don't know a whole lot about the band and stuff. So let's get a little background. How long has the Possum Posse been a posse?
The Possum Posse's been a posse for a long time, man. Long as way too long, probably. We the guys, the newest member of the band, I think, has been in the band like 8 years or something. But
Oh dang.
we've been playing music probably 15 years or something like that. And
Okay.
various forms even before that. I was writing songs and playing and gathering up anybody who'd play with me and trying to get people's attention. So yeah, long time.
So I think I read y'all are out of Austin.
We're out of Austin, Texas. Yeah.
Awesome. Good deal. So I say we just get right into it. Like I said on our DMs, this is one of my favorite videos ever. And it was something that in college we watched it. I can't even tell you how many times we watched it. But
Yeah.
I got to hear the origin of the guy on the Buffalo. So how did you come across the movie?
Probably, I guess it was 10 years ago now, but we were kind of trying to put out some sort of music that was, semi-professional. We put our funds together and recorded a little EP of like 4 songs. And I seen somebody who took like a old public domain, like a silent movie, and chopped it up to use it as a music video for their music. And I was like, I could do that. I could probably do that. And I did. I found like some old cartoon and chopped that up and kind of made it sync up with the music, and it worked pretty well. And so that was one of the 4 songs. And so I was kind of on the hunt for more stuff for the other 3. And there was a blog at the time, and I don't think it's around anymore, but it was just posting like weekly. It would post another random old movie that people, didn't know much about. And it just so happened the day I logged in that the latest post was Buffalo Rider. And as soon as I saw it, I pretty much, I told my wife, I showed her, and I was like, look at this, man, this is insane. Is this a real movie? And so then, I said, I've got to use it, but I can't figure out which song of these 3 is it going to make it makes no sense. And it was kind of her idea. She said, why don't you just give it its own, give it its own music and give it its own tune or whatever. And so I basically had I had that little ditty, had a little guitar progression, chord progression that I had been messing around with for a while. I just had it sitting around. And so I played that over it, played a little fiddle, played a little accordion, and then just kind of it was her idea, too, to chop it up into 2-minute segments, take all the action out. And, so I did the first one on like a Saturday when she was at work. And by the next Saturday, I called it episode 1 because I just knew there was more content. But nobody really cared about anything I ever posted online, until that happened. So by the next Saturday, it had like, I don't remember, 40,000 or something views. And I was like, oh, crap. Well, now I have to actually, people are watching now, So, yeah, it kind of took on a life of its own by then.
That's awesome. Did the guy who, I guess, filmed the movie or created the movie, did he reach out to you?
Somebody did on pretty early on, somebody on YouTube or something said, "Hey, I know that guy. He's up here in Canada, and they told me a little bit about him. He has a ranch up there, Boundary Ranch." And so I was sort of nervous. I was kind of like,
Yeah.
This guy's, going to think we're making fun of his life work or something. And but I'm trying to remember exactly how, but somebody kind of connected us. And at the time, we didn't really have anything to say. It was like, he said, "Hey, I like your, like these videos or something." And he was totally cool about it, which was a big relief. I maybe even talked to him on the phone, but I remember kind of being like, yeah, I mean, that's what, I wish we had some we could collaborate on or something we could do together. And then, years later, we got kind of a setup deal where we got to go up there and meet him. He got on another buffalo and rode it around. He's like 70 years old. And,
a legit buffalo.
Legit big buffalo that was eye level. Like
So
his face was that tall. And then, and then he's sitting up there on there. And in fact, we did a video. You should look it up. It's we did a little documentary of our trip called Buffalo Quest, where we were searching for the guy on a buffalo. We went up to Canada, and at one point, he comes out on this buffalo, and I don't think he rides it regularly. It wasn't even his. He comes out on this thing, and we're playing the music, and so he stops it, and it's barely. I mean, he's in control of it, but I think it's just gently suggesting things to the buffalo. I don't know
as
how much
control of a buffalo as you can be, I guess.
Yeah.
You said he was 70 years old?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think, something like that. And this dude is, man, he's the real deal. All the stunts and everything in the movie were just him basically either getting attacked by animals or attacking animals with his bare hands. And it's just kind of the way he rolls. But he came out on the buffalo, and the first thing he did, he looked over at me, and we were playing the song. It's kind of to be the background music. And so he stops and everything, and people cheer, and then he looks at me and he's like, "Come on, you want to get on the buffalo?" And so, of course, I was like terrified. And but I was thinking, well, I can't be on my deathbed and had the opportunity to ride a buffalo and not done it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
And so I gathered up all my strength and walked over there. And when I got there, he was like, "Nah, I'm just messing with you, man. You can't ride this thing. It's taken me like 2 weeks of training to ride this." So that was kind of a relief. But
that is awesome. I did not know
pretty
that.
cool though. Would have been pretty cool to ride it.
I mean, yeah, I would have done it because but I would have been terrified for sure the whole time. That thing, I think he said the original one he rode was like 1,300 pounds or something, and this was like 2,600. So it was this huge buffalo, and it didn't look. It was kind of crazy looking, man. It's kind of one wonky horn, and he was a messed up looking buffalo, but just kind of gnarly.
That's awesome. Because at one point, me and my roommate had watched the video like multiple times, and we were like, "What? I mean, how'd this even happen?" So we found out it was a movie, and we watched it. And now it makes a lot more sense about the movie that was actually him riding a buffalo. Because I was like, how did they film this? Because it, looked kind of low budget and stuff like that. And I was like, that makes a lot more sense.
I think he was kind of a stunt guy, and he had done a bunch of movies where basically he had worked with animals, and he was, I guess somebody went down to buy a bunch of mules for this movie, and somebody was selling this buffalo cheap. And they called him, or maybe it was him, and convinced the studio people to buy it, but they had nothing to do with it. And so then during the off hours between, they were filming some just regular Western. They had basically borrowed all this camera equipment and went out and just filmed him, just strapped him onto this buffalo and filmed. I was talking to like a TikTok guy the other day, one of those, he's like an influencer.
Yeah.
And I was saying, this is basically what these guys were doing, like in the 70s. They were like, let's just go out there and you be crazy. We'll film it and see what happens. And then,
that's awesome.
One thing led to another. And I mean, he got torn up by cougars. He got drugged behind the buffalo and like so many broken bones and so many stitches. he had a wolf jump on him from above him, like just insane. And all of it was just, he would go to the hospital and get multiple stitches, multiple casts or whatever, and then be like, all right, I'm back.
He was back on the buffalo.
Let's go again.
So that's actually a bear. He's turning around and chasing back.
For sure, yeah. There's a scene in there where he gets surrounded by a pack of wolves. And that's like one of the only things I didn't use that was awesome. But the buffalo, they get surrounded because wolves hunt like that. And this buffalo rams a wolf like with his head into the snow. And they just keep going. Like he's fighting, the buffalo and him are fighting these wolves. And there's a scene where the wolf, another wolf gets kicked, like that I did put in there. But I mean, they just basically were like, let's tie this buffalo up and let's let this wolf try to eat it and see what happens. And it's kind of just, I think they're just kind of like, let the cameras roll and whatever happens, we'll make it part of the movie.
They just have a camera set up, or is somebody filming?
They had a crew. I mean, they had guys. Basically, I think it was like, I think Rick was like in his early 20s. So I mean, it was just a bunch of guys that were working for making other movies and things that had off time in between, and they just grabbed the equipment and run out there and just let it go. So.
This sounds like it was a little ahead of its time. This is like nature, Jackass in nature.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that's awesome. I had no idea all that happened, but I'm definitely gonna have to watch that.
Well,
what did you say it was called?
There's an interview on that same thing. If you look up like on our YouTube channel, or if you just Google Buffalo Quest,
okay.
There's 4 of those episodes, and the first 2 are us just goofing around, but the third one. We find him, and I do an interview with him, and I asked him all these questions about the movie. And for example, they had some animals, like they had a cougar that was semi-tame, and it was not part of the film for it to attack him, but it just legit attacked him, and he was fighting for his life. And he's like, "Yeah, you can see I get out my knife, but it flew out of my hand." And I went back and watched, and I freeze. He's like, "If you stop, you'll see it, gliding off the." And I paused it, and I'm like, "Oh, there it is. There's this Bowie knife like flying off the screen." He's fighting for his life, and then when he finally I guess he hit it with the butt of his gun or something, and it scared it enough, but he had all these internal external stitches. The thing was biting him on the neck, and he goes to the hospital, comes back, and they're like, well, let's get a more tame cougar who can just kind of run up and start the scene and jump on your back, but it won't actually attack you. So they set it up that way, like faked the setup, but then the rest of it is him like just fighting to survive, like not die.
That's insanity.
That is wild. That is wild.
I had no idea.
And he's still, this dude's still kicking and still like, he's awesome. He's just like a real mountain man.
What's this guy's name?
His name's Rick Gwynn. He lives in Alberta, in Canada.
That's awesome.
He's a character.
He's living the American dream.
He's doing
kinda the Canadian dream, I guess.
Yeah, I mean North America.
North American dream. All right, so let's move into when things really start kicking off. Are you a big sports guy or no?
I mean, medium.
Yeah.
I'm a Texas Aggie, and we're never. I don't get my hopes up anymore.
Right. that was me before this year with the Dogs. But
were
you watching the game?
Yeah, we were actually at a watch party in Atlanta, and I guess Zaxby's guys are all mostly Georgia guys.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it was pretty exciting because it was a room. We had a bar. They had a bar rented out, and we played some songs. And Rick was there, and the guy from the new actor was there, and they had the game up on the big screen. So it was kind of a perfect night. I mean, it was pretty great. That's
awesome. So like. The commercial came on at a time where Bama looked like it had all the momentum. Yeah. All the momentum. And so I'm like, I'm here at this house, and I'm just like hurting a little bit inside. I've seen this happen multiple times. And then all of a sudden this video comes on, or commercial. And I'm like, I looked at my fiance who also loves the video, and I'm like, that's the guy on the buffalo. And like we're watching it. He's riding around on a buffalo wing. And all of a sudden the momentum just changes. And so from then on, I'm like sending the video to everybody. I'm like, watch this video. Like it's a momentum swinger. It's a stick video. So like I was fired up. And so obviously I started tweeting Zaxby's and stuff. So like I have to know, did they just like recently reach out and be like, we got a great idea for a commercial?
Yeah, I mean, I think they reached out like in August or something like that. And they kind of, they were secretive about it. They didn't want to tell me too much about it, what it was, or even who it was. They had their ad agency reach out. And but it was sort of, they pitched it, they told me the idea, and it kind of was perfect because, I don't know. There's not a lot of things that, like, for one, it's a weird boneless buffalo wing that's the shape that you can make it kind of the shape of a buffalo.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of things that would work like that, and it just and they were all along, when they first said it, they were like, we want to license your song, we want to use that in a campaign. And I didn't want to presume anything, but I said, well, who do you imagine is singing this song? And they're like, well, it's got to be you, and it's got to be your voice, and just whatever. Like, we're not going to give you a script. We're going to let you kind of do it like you did the original ones. And so that was awesome, because they didn't try to make it, overly scripted or overly, I don't know. I was nervous about that, but when I saw what they were planning, and they had kind of come up with like a general storyline, I was like, this is great, because it's, the one thing I didn't want to do is just a commercial that was just like overly selling a product, or not natural, So they didn't really, they kind of let me do my thing, which was awesome, because I my opinion, it's just my opinion, but I was like, I think it's going to be funnier if you just let me kind of goof around like I do. And so they were totally on board. And, the guy that kind of spearheaded the campaign told me at the party, he's like, we don't do a lot of crazy things like this, but we all love Guy on a Buffalo. And he was like, I didn't really do anything. You already had the music. You already had the, deal. We just did this idea. And I said, yeah, but you were the first guy. This thing's been around for 10 years. And you're the first person to kind of have this idea. So to me, it's genius that they did it. And I was pumped that they were willing to do it,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask that. Like, so they designed the video and then let you do it like how you originally came up with the word?
It was kind of weirdly opposite. They sent me a storyboard. They had just like pictures, like a comic book, and that's what they sent me, because they didn't know the timing. The original one I edited down because it was the song was 2 minutes, and so I made the video 2 minutes, and they weren't sure like how the scenes and everything were going to play out. So they said, like, here's the storyline, make it work. And so I actually used the original recordings of my music as the bed, and I just sang the story that would kind of made it fit that time frame, and sent it to them. And then they went to, that's what was crazy, because I'm just in my house with my little, home recording gear, and sent it to them. And then they go off to they have a movie set where they're filming based on, all the stupid crap I'm saying. So they've like shot based on that.
That would be fun to act in. Cool. That'd be fun to act in. You're like, all right, he says this right here.
Yeah.
He's going after a fox. We got to get a fox in here.
Yeah. Well, the guy Kyle that plays the guy on a Buffalo wing was awesome, because, he took all the little subtle things, and he's great with making faces, and just, I don't know. I wasn't sure when I first saw his picture, because he didn't really look like Rick. And, but then I saw his facial expressions and the way he was doing it, and I kind of fell in love with that. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, he was really good.
So, do you get free Zaxby's for life now or anything?
I wish.
Cool
no, I should have probably negotiated that. I didn't think about it until it was too late. I did think about it after the fact, but I was like, oh man, I should have done that.
At least for a year or something.
I know.
Well, you definitely shouldn't have to pay for a beer in Athens, Georgia, after the momentum swing you had.
I did pretty instantly start seeing comments and stuff come in online. It was like, way to turn the game around, boys. You know, like this was the turning point. So
it really was. Like, that's not even a joke. It was.
Yeah.
That's
was
good stuff. So anything else in the works?
My goal is I want him to make this guy like a recurring guy, a recurring character. But I'm not quite sure the way it's going to show, but the most exciting thing so far is I think it's going to air in the Super Bowl. For me, that's really cool. Seeing as, like this was 10 years ago, and that was like the first thing I ever recorded at my house myself. Like I recorded it with my home recording gear, and to have that music of me playing on my guitar, fiddle, and accordion on the Super Bowl is like, that's mind blowing. Because back then I never would have thought anything like that could have happened. So,
and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's like competitions of like best Super Bowl commercial, right?
I don't know. I think there is. Yeah. I mean, people.
There's got to be.
Yeah. If nothing else, I know people feel that way. I mean, people do it amongst themselves. Like people watch just for the ads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely have an early front runner. There's no doubt. Hopefully it's at a time where it just flips that game too. Because if it does, me and Shale are going to throw down a fat live bet as soon as that game comes on for the other team.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, I'm just pumped to be part of the fun, man. I mean, it's like that's to me like I don't know. I couldn't be more thrilled. So after I had a request here, and after hearing about Big Beast Rick and then the next actor who's really good, I was going to say next time, and this is a real request. So next time you have something in the works and you need a Buffalo rider, I'm a free hire. all I need to do is just boost the pot a little bit, and that's it. That's all I ask. All right. Yeah.
I would ride an actual buffalo. So
okay. I mean, we got to find a buffalo. That's the thing is, you got to find a buffalo.
They're
I don't
scarce.
know where it could happen.
The dang settlers killed them all off.
I know. They didn't use all the parts of the buffalo.
Yeah.
I get corrected every 3 weeks or something. Somebody online says, I hate to be that guy, but it's actually an American bison. I'm like, all right.
It's a buffalo.
It's a buffalo, man. It sounds better, It sounds better.
Zaxby's ain't picking it up if it's a bison.
Yeah, no, nobody wants that. Nobody wants to hear about that.
You saw the future 10 years ago. You knew it was a bison, but you knew the buffalo wing translated.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not as fun. Nobody, a guy on an American bison.
No. Everybody knows what buffalo's American as it gets, honestly.
I think so. So you're saying if we can get a hold of a buffalo and we get somebody's camera out, we open up a TikTok account or something, you're willing to get on the buffalo and ride it?
The next flight, red eye.
All right.
I'm all in. If I can be associated with a guy on the buffalo in any shape or form, I'll do it. And I'd love to meet Rick because that guy sounds awesome.
Man, that guy, he's crazy. He's the real deal. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, red eye flight, I'm there, and I'll hop on any buffalo you got.
Okay, done deal.
And I'll be there to watch.
Yeah,
I'll make sure I'm there to watch.
Yeah, me too. I'll watch. I'll stand a little bit off on the side. Watch.
Or just a prop buffalo. Whichever one.
Yeah.
Just need to be involved.
They had that buffalo wing at the party, but they wouldn't let anybody get on it. And Rick was like, you think we can get on that thing? And I said, well, it's on like a tiny wooden furniture dolly with wheels. I'm pretty sure it would just tip over, but I'm willing to try with you, And they shut us down.
Rick was ready to roll for sure.
He was ready, man. That guy's ready to party.
You need to get a mechanical buffalo wing going.
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
Carry it around with me.
To take
it to gigs and stuff.
But Jomo, appreciate you coming on. That was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, this was fun.
Can't wait to see the commercial in the Super Bowl. That's free money, it sounds like. So we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Momentum swinger. But good luck as more opportunities come along, and hopefully we see a lot more of the buffalo wing.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me.
Have a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good one.
Talk to you later.